Hey OGVR OGs, this is a video on how to record your backtesting data for GSuite on a spreadsheet that we can share and create a library of different assets that we can trade on with higher expected value and more confidence. GSuite was designed for Bitcoin on the 1 day. That's what it was optimized for. However, it seems to work pretty well on most risk assets on most higher time frames. 1 day and above generally works better. 4 hours pretty good. If you get down to 1 minute, 5 minutes, stuff like that, it gets much more wonky. But eventually we'll probably record the spreadsheet data and see what signals we can get out of that. But one benefit of having all the data for all the signals on the spreadsheet is you can do signal analysis where I go into ChatGPT and have it, I could create another video on how you do this, but have it aggregate all the signals for me and then look at probability paths for bullish and bearish outcomes. And if we say had 4 hour, 1 week, and 1 day all giving different probability paths, then that's going to give a higher probability when you combine them on which path it's going to take and help us get better probabilities on what is going to happen. Anyway, we're going to start off with when you're creating a new signal, I'm going to go here, click on this, open up a blank spreadsheet. That'll bring you here. I'll go to make a copy and say GSuite. Maybe I want to trade silver on the 1 hour and then record all this data, right? I go to make a copy and here we go. So I'm going to do Bitcoin on the 4 hour. So I go over here, Bitcoin 4 hour. I've already got strategy 1 loaded up, and I'm going to start off, it's going to default to starting at signal 1. I'm going to start at signal 9 because that is the order they are. In here, they're top to bottom, so in the spreadsheet, they're top to bottom. And I'm going to go through and start entering the data. First thing I want to do is go to my strategy tester, and I want to look at the profit factor. And specifically, I want to look at whether the regular or inverted profit factor is better. So regular is better. Usually regular is going to be better. However, there are weird instances where for some signals, inverting it will give you a better profit. And so that's what I'm going to always do first. So I check regular is better. So right here, I've got the win rate, 31.69%. I have the total trades over here is 183. The date updated, I'll update those all at the end when I'm done, just to avoid repetition. And then once I've got that, I'm going to go into trades analysis. And the next bit I want is down here, average winning trade, 10.4%, average losing trade, 2.16%. And then I want to scroll down to largest losing trade is 10.33. That determines how much leverage I can use without getting liquidated before the trade is over. I mean, optimistically, nothing is certain in trades. But average win bars is 72, average losing bars is 13, and the average bars is 32. And then it'll calculate all this stuff automatically, so I can expect to gain 1.82% on average over that average 32 bars. I can use 9x leverage, and with 9x leverage, I can expect my net leveraged EV is 16.38. So there's the first indicator. So then go to the next indicator, 8. And for the top two, these are aggregate. So this one basically says overall, are all of the other signals bullish or bearish? Are they long or short? And this one says I have more than 2 are long to trigger this, and then more than 2 net are short. You can mess with these, but that's usually based on the number of signals. So if you play around with these and find that that's better, you can do that. However, if you go down to 0, then that's exactly the same as this signal right here, right? So anyway, if you want to play around with those, you can. On any of these where there's some counts, you can mess around, like they're changing it from 2 to 3, raise the profit factor. If I raise it to 3, then it's 3.5. And you could spend a bunch of time fiddling around with this. Doesn't seem to change from 3 to 4, so we're going to keep it at 3. And then I'll make a note here. I'll just say 3.3 to know what the settings are for it. And I'll check inverting it. Inverting is way worse. There we go. So now this one is set up. Win rate is 63.16. Number of trades is 19. I'd say 5 would be the minimum number of trades to use a signal, but you'd prefer 10 to 20 to be really confident. 19 is kind of right at the threshold. Okay, then I'm going to go into trades analysis again. Average winning trade is 32.8. Average losing trade is 10.04. 10.04. Max loss 17.61. Average winning bars 295, average losing bars 150, and then 241 for average bars. Okay, so there's the next signal. And moving on, I'll just show a couple more, but you probably get the gist. So signal 7, go to overview, 7, 2.9 profit factor. If I invert it, I don't know that it would ever be better. Yeah, that's pretty good. And if I want to mess around with the bull count and bear count, if these don't make sense, don't worry about it. They just change stuff in the specific signal. So if I go down to bear count 3, that seems to look better. So 3 seems to be about the best for that. If I tweak this a little bit, whoa, that gets way worse. 5, 6 is infinite, but there's only one instance, so looks like that's about the right number. If you end up tweaking these and the total trades goes down below 20, I'd rather have a trade that's not as high profit factor with more than 20 trades than one that's like, 80% success with 7 trades. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'll make a note that because I changed these, it's 3 and 5, which is just basically in the order that they're there. And win chance is 70.83. Number of trades is 24. Trades analysis, average winning trade, average losing trade, largest losing trade 32%. Average bars in winning trades 396, losing 582, and then 450, etc., etc., etc. Note on using higher time frames real quick. So I'll finish this on the 4 hour, but say I went to the 1 week. Sometimes you'll have the signal break, like here signal 6 is broken, which broke the aggregates. If you have something like that, then it either means that that signal might reference something else, like it might reference some Fed like M2 or M3 series or some ETF, commodities index or something that doesn't look back as far. Maybe it was started in 2018 and your signal goes back too far, and so that might break it. Maybe it uses like an 800 EMA, and just in the weekly, Bitcoin hasn't been around long enough, or for some other reason, sometimes the signals will break, in which case I just want to go and find the signal and I just turn it off. And then you see the aggregate. And then also, say here, if I use signal 9, then on signal 9, this is where you can see the inversion. So profitable trades is 50% with an 8.3 profit factor. If I invert it, it's more trades and 100% profitable. So if that was the case, say that this was indicator 9 on the 4 hour, I would just type INV, so I know it's inverted, right? That way when we're looking at these, we can just know that this is the values. If they're default, you can leave it blank, but if you change the values, you can type in what the values are, and then maybe it was 3-3 inverted or whatever. That way anyone looking at the spreadsheet can just go, okay, it's blank, I just leave it as it is, but otherwise I invert it or set the variables to this, and it'll be more optimized. And I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, then just let me know in OGBR Discord.